Hey everyone, it's Deb Putnoy here from Boston, Massachusetts, and I'm in the drawing lab today, and I'm really excited to see everyone. It's been a little bit of a while, but I am here. It's actually sunny in Boston, which is a big thing. It's been raining for 2 weeks, and we're getting down to the bottom of our ABCs of drawing, and really our ABCs of creativity, because it's really about being creative and open to new ideas about drawing and thinking and challenging yourself. So today we're doing try new ways. And it's funny because I thought it was try something new, but I really like try new ways when I think about it. I really encourage people to think about drawing as something that's not set in stone. So I think people have a very narrow definition of what drawing is and what it should be and what it should look like. And I am really trying to encourage people to explore different aspects of their brain, of themselves, of what drawing can do, what your creative brain can do, and what that can bring to your life if you try different experimental approaches. So I'm all for drawing realistic, but in my lab, it's all about experimentation and like a scientist thinking about like what happens if we do this and what happens if we do that. So today I want to encourage you to think about trying new ways. So of course, one way that you can try to do something new is to change up your materials. So I have all different materials in the drawing lab, from charcoal pencils and graphite and everything. But one thing that you could think about, and I don't have it here, but is to think about other materials that you can use to draw with. So you could use lipstick or mascara or nail polish or coffee, or what other things could you draw? Like the charcoal after a fire is out, so the next day when it's cold, you can try that charcoal. So what are some things that you can use as a tool for drawing? So I also want you to think about how you actually do your drawing. So I have, and I'm going to point this down a little bit. So I have a piece of, this is a pipe cleaner, and I have my pen on a pipe cleaner. So also thinking about how you hold your tool. So what would it be like to try to draw something when your thing is connected? So what if I was going to do a face? Like losing some of that control, and then you get these really nice lines because you can't control your pen so well. It's just about experimentation. There's one artist, Anastasia, and I'm not saying his name right, but he actually records the motion of the subway when he rides it with his tool. So look at this. You can see so what if I took this out on a swing and I recorded just the experience of swinging on the swing, or if I was in the subway, brought my little tool with me. So you can use, so when you're trying new ways, like experiment, think of like really outside of the box, like ways to think about drawing. So I have my pipe cleaner. So I also encourage people to try things with their other hand. So what would be like, just look at those great feathery marks. Like I'm always talking about feathery marks. I don't know if you can see those. Just look at I don't know if you can see it well enough. Let me just turn that down. But just feathery marks on the page. It's just a pipe cleaner attached to a tool. And I could switch the tool up if I wanted. And kids love doing this. They love playing around. I don't know if it's going to work with the graphite as well. Maybe make it a little tighter. So this is graphite. Yes, it's very light. You really have to have a little bit closer up if you can kind of slam it down and you get more dots. So try new ways. Another thing I was thinking about today is, so I have people experiment a lot with like drawing with two hands at the same time. So that's trying a new way. If you've never tried that, see what it feels like to draw with both hands at the same time. And you can see, like, I can see, I don't know if you can see, but the graphite is much lighter than the marker. And I don't tend to use markers a lot when I draw, but we do it with this. This is a kind of gel pen. You can see, maybe I'll switch paper here. I'm just using some newsprint. So what if I was going to do a face? So what's it like to draw with both hands at the same time? Give that a try. Or with your opposite hand. So really, it's about experimentation, trying things in new ways. But the other thing I wanted to show you that's kind of fun to do, and you get really interesting marks, is I have all this like different string. I have string here, and what I'm going to do is, and when this is fun to do with kids too, but to do texture rubbings, and you get really great marks. So I have some textures here. And I don't know if you remember doing this, but this is a great way to kind of explore your world around you, but also think about marks. So having those strings, and I remember being in art school, we had to do this all around. We spent 3 hours going around the museum school in Boston, getting texture rubbings all around the school. So it's a great thing to do around your house. You can go outside and then you can use these kind of as collage or just to get inspired by the different marks that get made. I also have some wire. So these you can kind of bend into different shapes. So I'm just trying to get you to think about drawing that's not just about, so that ripped a little bit. Again, just rubbing. Maybe I switch this up a little bit. Just keep layering on top. And then what I like to do with these pieces is to use them in a collage or something. Here's another pipe cleaner, so I can stick that down. It's a little fuzzier, so let's see if we get a different kind of mark from the fuzzy pipe cleaner than we did from the, definitely makes a different noise. So it does get a little bit more bumpy when I do the pipe cleaner versus just the others. And then you could, so you're playing again with texture. So trying new ways of texture using the pipe cleaner with my pipe cleaner marker thing. So I could even use that on top of this and then draw on top of my, some of this is just pure experimentation to get it in the right. Like how many different marks can you make? How many different long lines? How many different dots? So it's really about thinking about having the mindset of a scientist or of an artist who's just experimenting and not worrying about getting something right. It's just about seeing where the materials can go. And then the other thing I just picked up in my studio, I just was kind of rummaging around, is I have these filter things. And these are also great to just draw on. It's a different kind of texture. And you could also play around with the graphite and then put some of the, do some rubbings. It's nice because it's a little bit thinner than the paper and it's a little bit see-through. And then you could create some really interesting drawings just using, what else do I have here? So I just want you to think outside of the box, just something different. Like, how can I make a drawing with different materials? And just think of it as a way to experiment. Okay, so all of these drawings I could just throw away. This is not, we're not talking like fancy. We're talking about just trying things out to experiment. 2 hands, opposite hand. This is with my little pipe cleaner marker. So I'd love to know some ideas that you have around trying new ways. Like, what are some new ways that you like to draw? This is just the tip of the iceberg of things, of ways that I like to draw in different ways, like drawing to smell and drawing to touch and drawing really big with big sticks and having ink at the end. So I'd love to know things that you do in the studio or with your kids or anywhere. Like, how have you tried new ways to draw in your practice, or do you have suggestions or things that you want to try? There's so many great, and maybe what I'll do later in the Drawing Lab group is post some ways that I've seen other artists like draw with both hands. They've done some interesting things like that, blindfolded, in the dark. So I would just encourage experimentation, that really to really push your brain in new ways, to get in that creative headspace, is like to just break boundaries and just see what happens. And don't worry about making a perfect drawing. This is about just, I don't know, it's just like magical to let yourself just kind of play and to get into that play space. I don't think we let ourselves play enough. And, there's all this new brain research about how important, even for adults, it is for kids and adults just to play, not have a reason, throw everything out in the end, like you did when you were a kid, not worry about the outcome, just get involved in the process. So thank you for joining me today. I hope you do a little trying something new and getting into a little bit of that playful space, playful head process, like we talked about a while ago. And I will be back to do the letter U really soon. Okay, take care, everyone. Have a great day.